Mwambusi Andebesa is my name, and I will be moderating a podcast, a video podcast, which is about a newly published book titled Common People's Uganda, authored by Professor Yash Tandon. So briefly, can you give us an overview of the book, Common People's Uganda, to put us in the context?
The book is in 3 parts. Part 1, very short part, about 50-60 pages, is the historical context, pre-colonial, colonial, up to 1986. That includes all that Obote, Amin, UNLF, and the second Obote.
And the next?
And then the second section is on the present situation, 1886 onwards. And that I have analyzed in some detail, the economic, the political, army, and so on. And then there's a third section, which for me is most important, and what I call rebooting revolution. How do we restart the revolution that had begun in our country in fighting against the colonial powers before independence?
Professor Gumayo, I noticed that you wrote forward to this book, Common People's Uganda. What did you find helpful in this book?
Thank you, Professor Musa. I like it because a book that should be read by all. There are questions at the back of every chapter, at the end of every chapter. It is actually designed to be a study manual which can lead to action.
Thank you. Let's go to the next panelist, Madam Jane Narunga. You are an NGO activist, and you are in advocacy work. How do you find this book relevant for your advocacy work?
What I liked about this book is that it puts family back on the agenda, the issue of the empire, neocolonialism, the issue of the institutions such as IMF, World Bank, WTO, which are dictating policies on us. In fact, these are the institutions which are telling us, no, you are okay, because you haven't reached the 50% of GDP. There is that level of engagement, consciousness is not there. So what I like about this book is that it's now family back on the agenda. If we are talking about the empire, talking about neocolonialism, we need to understand its manifestations, debate around what are the manifestations of the empire and be able to engage effectively.
Thank you. Mr. Chiza Africa, you are among the category of the youth, and these days the youth are talking about people's power, people's ownership. Do you find this book, Common People's Uganda, talking to the youth?
Thank you, Chair, Moderator. Yes, and the fact is that the current generation with the youth, there has been, I don't want to use the word propaganda, but there has been that whole gospel that trying to show that history of Uganda started in 1986. That is that has been always the perception, that the liberation of Uganda started in 1986. But the book tries to bring the whole history way back, the Kakonge and all that, the Moshi Conference, the Red Cross, all that. It brings that to show where Uganda has gone, because nation building is a process, and with the youth, unless we really understand what to build the Uganda we have today.
Professor Yash Tandon, the author of the book, you have talked about the empire. That all we are doing, the primary contradiction is the empire with the people. Now we are talking about this and that, youth and women, and these ideas being included in the national dialogue. But the referee, the hegemony, is the empire and its local allies here. What can be done to make sure that the empire control and its local allies are overwhelmed by the common people so that we find a different direction?
In this book, mention this thing.
Okay.
I refer to the Juko Tindifa report, A People's Dialogue, Political Settlements in Uganda and the Quest for National Conference, our generation should open up the door to those who are below 40. Anybody over 41, out.
Thank you. That is Professor Yash Tandon. And on that note, I think that ends on a good note. The book is here, Common People's Uganda, so that we have got a debate and a battle of ideas. Rather than going to the bush, we can go to the libraries, we can go to conference centers, we can go to seminars and the battle there so that something new, something progressive may come. But to do that, we need the space. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.